my question for you tonight is that I've grown up hearing that the different Gospels were written with different audiences in mind. So, like Mark's Gospel, it's more specific and detail-oriented. So, I've heard that it was written to specifically speak to the Pharisees and Jews and those people who are specific. And the Gospel, like Matthew, was written to the more lay people, the general audience who aren't so fact-oriented and are looking to more hear the general side of the story. Is this a probable thing to assess to say that it was written for specific audiences, or is there some other reason?
Oh no, they were definitely written to different audiences, no question about that. And Luke was written to more of a Gentile audience, to Theophilus. It's disputed on who Theophilus was, whether that was an actual person, whether that was the patron who had funded Luke's activities to put together and write the gospel, or whether Theophilus is just a fictitious, cryptic name for a Gentile group to whom it was being written. It's disputed on that. But he's definitely writing to a Gentile audience, and you see that he adapts some things, like, for example, in Mark chapter 2, when they lower the paralytic through the roof of the house, they dig a hole through a thatch roof, you know. But in Luke, they remove tiles, which would have been more of the kind of roof that, you know, so there's some adaptation on Luke's part there. And then even in the trial scene of Jesus before the high priest, in Mark and in Matthew, you know, you have very Jewish flavor there where, you know, they're questioning him, and finally the high priest says, "Tell us, are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" And Jesus says, "Yep, and you're going to see the Son of Man," that apocalyptic Son of Man I mentioned earlier, the apocalyptic Son of Man, seated at the right hand of power, in other words, seated at God's right hand and coming on the clouds of heaven. And the high priest tore his clothes and said, "This is blasphemy," and they all judged him as deserving of death. Well, a Gentile audience may not have appreciated that Son of Man imagery. They don't know what that means, because that's a Jewish concept. And what's this blasphemy thing? And why are you tearing a perfectly nice robe over this and getting so upset over that? Just tell them, no, you're not. You know, why this with Luke? How the Gentiles would have responded. So Luke adapts it a little. So when the high priest says, "Are you the Messiah, the Son of God?" Jesus says, "Yes, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." And so they just say, "So you are the Son of God then?" "Yes." Oh, okay. Well, we don't need any more witnesses. Let's turn him over to Pilate. There's no blasphemy. There's no rendering the clothes and things like that. So there's this little adaptation there on Luke's part because it's a Gentile audience that is going to be reading. So yeah, the audience does make a big difference, and that's why some things are adapted in that way.